It feels like Nottingham Forest is now descending into chaos, as it feels like it's the club versus the fans. Welcome to your Forest News. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. Coming up in today's video, we're going to bring you up to date with the whole ticket fiasco that Forest have created for themselves and literally shot themselves in the foot. We'll be talking about the impact this has, and more importantly and more worrying for me and maybe for you guys, is what is this going to mean when it comes to the actual game time? There's talks of strikes, there's talks of boycotts and things like that. We're going to cover it all off for you guys today. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new, and don't forget to grab, if you want, speaking of controversial, Pierre Van Hooijdonk signed Forest kit with the number 40, and if you hit ticket number 20, you're going to win the signed framed Rainer shirt as an Insta prize from Football Prizes. The links in the pinned in the comments and in the description down below. Okay, let me bring you guys up to speed with everything from where we left off on the last video. And I'll say it from the offset. I think anyone who is on this side of the fence or that side of the fence is completely right and justified to feel how they want to feel about this scenario. Because when it comes to tickets, pricing, going to games and money, this is all a personal thing. Can you afford it? Do you live close enough to get there? Do you have the means to get there? You know, do you have other commitments, family and everything like that? So these things, no one can really be right or wrong about it in terms of if they're willing to pay the price or not. But when it comes to the actual club and jumping the price as much as they did, and really, as I said in yesterday's video, screwing out some of the younger generation who need to be the future blood of Forest going through. It's all well and good, you know, that we've been watching Forest for years upon years upon years, but we need that new generation coming through if Forest is to grow and expand. And the club haven't helped themselves at all. The tweet yesterday that I didn't mention, I forgot to mention, well, I was too angered by it, from Forest last night, when the temperature was this high about this subject, was pathetic from the club. I'm sorry, I have to call it out for what it is. While everyone was, having their say and venting off, Forest released a tweet from their official Twitter saying season cards renewals have broken records in just 7 hours. Renewals are already up 50% compared to the same point last year. Thank you for your incredible support. Why would you release something that stupid in the heat of the moment that just stinks of money grabbing? That's the problem I had with that tweet. It's like, we know you lot are all vexed. We've seen all the comments, but you know what? Let's count our money and thank you for giving us more money at a quicker rate. And it just doesn't help the scenario. And what's happened to this club, man? This isn't stuff we've been using. Well, there have been a few instances, but let's not throw fuel on the fire. And then following that, they put the threatening tweet, and that's what I'm calling it. It felt like a threatening tweet, in my opinion, where they said there are now over 11,000 fans signed up to the official season card waiting list since the launch. An incredible demonstration of the huge demand to follow Forest. Thank you. And the reason I say that comes across as threatening is because they know, and believe you me, they know the uproar they've caused with these ticket prices. And what they're saying is, hello season card holders currently, sign up or we got 11,000 just waiting to take over from you. And it's just not the right approach. And especially with the Everton game literally round the corner. We got a team in Everton who just held 6 to Chelsea, who have picked up new injuries, who are in a worse situation on and off the pitch, if you can believe that, than Forest are. And are in the mud in terms of morale as well. Results not going for them. Even when they beat Burnley, that worried more of them than it did cheer them up because of the manner in which they beat Burnley. And Forest should be coming into this game buoyant, smelling blood. And we have this dropped on us. And that's my biggest frustration with all of this. Whether or not you agree or disagree with the pricing, the timing of it is horrific. It's typical Forest. And I know they do this around the same time every year. I get it. But come on, man. We need the club and the supporters as one body right now. That's the key to all of this. And that brings me on to some things that have been said by Forza, for example. Forza, who put out a really strong statement today, and I pretty much agree with everything they said and the tone of it as well, have now also said that they're going to remove the display or relinquish putting the display on that they had ready for or were preparing for the Man City game for the next Forest home game as a sign of protest. And I don't have any problem with that. I don't really have an opinion on it because I look at it and think, well, okay, Forest haven't had a display every single home game and we've had results. You know, the display isn't the be all and end all to the results. I think it's a nice catalyst, especially if we look like the one we've got here in the thumbnail at the Morgan Gibbs White one, which for me put that connection there and then on the pitch between him and the fans and the display, and we saw probably and arguably his best performance of the season. So yes, it is a nice thing to have, and I think it's good to see they're taking a strong stance. It's better than what I've seen from the supporters trust, who are just basically going around doing the rounds on Talk Sport and woe is me and no solutions or nothing at all. You know, let's not go down that road. But my point here on this, although I completely agree and respect what Forza are doing, I don't want this to then spill into other types of protests that are on the pitch or in the vicinity of the pitch. For example, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, let's boycott singing Mull of Kintyre before the match. Let's, some have gone to the extreme of saying let's boycott the Everton game completely. Things like that. And I'm 100% against anything like that. Why? For the simple reason that Nuno, his staff and the players have zero to do with this ticket pricing. Nothing at all to do with it. This is from above them, the off the pitch side of things. So to protest it that way, in my opinion, feels counterproductive. It's going to make the players nervous. It's going to make them uneasy. It's going to be a bit strange in terms of an atmosphere and an environment. What happens if we score? We're back to the whole Van Hooijdonk thing when players weren't even celebrating with him. It could get weird. But we don't need that right now. We have plenty of time to make these arguments away from the pitch and maybe even after the season if we want to continue it on that long. But there are good protest things that I've been hearing about, like let's boycott the club shop on the next home game. Let's boycott any food and refreshments from the City ground. That's going to hit them in the pocket. That's going to cause, a dent in the revenue. I mean, when you think about it logically, it's hard, isn't it? Because it's counterproductive. Because if we're not going to give them that revenue on that day, will that impact Forest down the road? Yes, it's only a small amount, etc. It's not like when people boycott, I don't know, a supermarket or something like that. There's no connection there. You can just go to another supermarket chain, etc. It's not like we're going to go and watch some other team or what have you. So I understand the emotive side of this, but I just think we need to have clear heads for a minute and think about how we respond, one, collectively. What we don't want is one section of the fan base saying one thing, the other saying the other, and then what you end up is all these factions on top of each other, when really the gripe is at the club and technically at Marinakis, because the buck will stop with him on this pricing thing. And we need to get back to remembering who we are as well. Look at the football that happened last night. You had oil-rich Man City with their 115 charges trying to emulate what the Miracle Men did and the great Brian Clough. And they couldn't do it. You had Arsenal who were trying to emulate half of what those legends did. And they couldn't do it. Forest have done that. Forest are still the last English team to win the European Cup in back-to-back seasons, and that still means something. That's still important. You wouldn't see that, this fiasco happening with Brian Clough's around or in his days. And we need to get back to that unity, if only for the last 5 games, because the most important thing right now is this Premier League survival. Let's sort the off the pitch stuff out off the pitch, is my opinion. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with this stance or not? Or do you think protests will help? Because the bottom line is, we definitely helped them last season with our support, with our voices, with our songs, with our singing and everything. We were that 12th man that got them over the line. And if Forest are watching this video, you need to seriously think about the impact that you are creating with this. Irrespective of what fans agree or are okay or can stomach the prices, is this the look you want to be giving to your fan base? Some of us have supported for 30 years, 40 years, 60 years. Some are new fans. Is this the experience you want them to have? And ask yourselves this: how much difference is that 2 to 4 million extra revenue going to make to your bottom line when you're pumping in over 100 million from TV revenue, when you got sponsors coming in, when you're in the Premier League? And are you prepared to risk that at the cost of the Premier League? And then what will happen to our revenue if we do, God forbid, drop into the Championship? This is an important couple of weeks, and we've got to get our positioning correct on this, or it could have devastating effects. What are your thoughts on all of this, guys? Get your comments in. Let's leave the comments mature. And if you're reading other people's comments in there, be respectful to their point of view as well. As I said at the start of the video, people will have different opinions on this, and I think they will all be valid. But just remember, it isn't the person who's written that comment that set the price. It's just their opinion on it. Get your thoughts in down below. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And if you do want to grab yourself a chance to win the Van Hooijdonk, what a free kick taker he was, signed shirt, I'll leave it on the end screen for you now. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, come on, you Reds.